Alright, welcome to today's vlog. I'm your man Akeem McCall, here to give you my top 10 defenses for the 2012 NFL fantasy season. Now I have a great group for you guys, especially my top 5. I think they can each give you some good, valuable, decent points for this year's fantasy play. At number 10, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. Now, I was pretty shocked at their performance last season, actually ranking 8th overall according to ESPN in fantasy points due to a great defensive line. Now, this team was 22nd in the league in passing yards allowed and 23rd in the league in rushing yards allowed. And with those statistics, it was pretty shocking to me that they still cracked the top 10. But it's all due to that great D-line, Cliff Avril and company, Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley's getting into the mix. I think they could be due for a good season. But one thing they need an improvement in is that secondary, and I think they're probably going to get a little bit of improvement, but they still need a lot of help. At number 9, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. I did like the performance last season. They have a good young defense, Leon Hall, and they have a good defensive tackle, and Geno Atkins, 7.5 sacks last season. But they do need some good play from the defensive end position. Carlos Dunlap, in my opinion, is due for a good breakthrough season. He ended up breaking the franchise record for most sacks as a rookie with 9.5 back in 2010, and he needs to get back to that form. Last season, he had a little bit of a sophomore slump, pulling 4.5 sacks. Now, he's going to be competing for that starting first string role against Robert Gethers, but I think that Carlos Dunlap has the job. At number 8, I'm going to go with the Steel Curtain, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have still one of the top defenses in the National Football League for the past 5 seasons. They have a great defense. They have good rushers who can get to the edge and get to the quarterback, and Woodley and James Harrison. And do not forget about Troy Polamalu. He is the defensive player of the year 2 years ago. They still have a good, stellar defense, actually ranked 5th in the top 5 overall and yards allowed by defense. At number 7, I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Now, they're not too flashy when it comes to like fumble recoveries and a lot of interceptions, but they have one of the best overall defenses in the National Football League. Everybody plays a key role. One thing they need improvement is that they need a true pass rusher. Now, they ended up picking Quentin Coples as their first selection, and I hope that this guy does step up to the plate. He just needs to play 100% and not allow any distractions get into his way and still play at his full potential. Sometimes he lays back, he gives up plays, he kind of takes a break or two. He cannot take breaks, and this is going to be key in the National Football League because these offensive linemen are not going to be playing around. Now, he's been showing a little bit of flash a little bit during this preseason thus far. I think he could be a good addition to that D-line, and I think he has enough, the intelligence, not too much the intelligence, but the tenacity and the size to get to the quarterback and speed. At number 6, I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. Now, even with the loss of Mario Williams to the Buffalo Bills, the Texans defense still did outstanding. Rookie outside linebacker Brooks Reed, he ended up increasing drastically ever since week 5 when Mario Williams ended up tearing that pectoral muscle. That means Brooks Reed had more playing time, and he has been improving as the season progressed last season. He just posted 6 sacks, but in those 2 playoff matches, he posted 3.5 sacks. I think even with the loss of Mario Williams, this could be a breakout season for Brooks Reed. With him, Connor Berwin, by the way, had 11.5 sacks last season, and incoming first-rounder Whitney Mercilus. This could be a great trio of linebackers and good pass rushers. Probably the best young 3-4 outside linebackers in the National Football League. I'm talking about young players, and this team has so much potential. Brian Cushing's coming back, and Jonathan Joseph, who is a Pro Bowler. At number 5, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they did an outstanding job last season. One player in particular that I like, KJ Wright, the linebacker, immediately coming out of the 2011 NFL draft. He was a 4th rounder. He showed a lot more flashes than their first rounder a couple of years back in Aaron Curry, posting up more tackles, and he showed that he has a lot far better instincts in getting to the football and paying close attention to the offenses. Wright just played great right away, and I think he could be due for a 100-tackle season. Now, they have great players around him, especially the incoming players coming in, like Bruce Irwin out of West West Virginia, and Bobby Wagner. So I really think they have a good, stellar front seven straight off the bat, and they still have some probably one of these most underrated secondaries in the National Football League with Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. Both these two players had over 90 tackles last season. These two players are outstanding Pro Bowl caliber type players, and they have a good, excellent secondary who will help support the run. At number 4, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, mainly because they are the paper champion defense in the National Football League. So many stars this season. Even with the loss of Asante Samuel, they still have Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie and Nnamdi Asomugha. Great pass rushers in Trent Cole and Jason Badman, and they picked up a good defensive tackle in Fletcher Cox out of Mississippi State. Now, Philadelphia, they were actually 16th in the league against the run, but with the addition of Cox, this could be an outstanding player, and I think he can work well in penetrating that line of scrimmage and stopping the run even better. They were just in the middle of the mix in stopping the run, and they had a great overall defense. Hopefully, they will get to the playoffs this season and cause problems in the National Football League. At number 3, this was a hard pick for me. I have to go with the Chicago Bears. Julius Peppers did have a good season last season, another Pro Bowl year, 11.5 sacks, but they really need some help with the secondary. They got torched a couple of times last season. Now, overall on their defense for the secondary, they were actually 28th in the league against the pass, and they need a lot of help with that. I did like the performance a little bit from DJ Moore. He did post 4 interceptions, but other than that front seven, a lot of the offenses in the National Football League is going to be taking advantage of that secondary. So they're going to need more help from the pass rushers and a little bit better effort from that secondary of the Chicago Bears. At number 2, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I like this team overall. Yes, they are not going to be playing without, they're going to have to play without Terrell Suggs, the reigning defensive player of the year, but they have a couple of great players of outside linebackers and defensive ends who can work well in the rotation, like Paul Kruger, Courtney Upshaw, and one of my breakthrough players this season on the defensive side, Pernell McPhee. Now, he had 6 sacks last season, but he had limited time. With Terrell Suggs out, McPhee is the guy I'm going to be looking at this year out of all the players. Also in the mix is Sergio Kendall, and hopefully if he stays healthy, he can help out that defense a little bit. He was the 2nd round choice a couple years back from the University of Texas, one of my Longhorns. But going back to McPhee, he's a great player out of Mississippi State. With that limited action and just 6 sacks, that said a lot to me, and he could be a good premier pass rusher and an excellent replacement for Terrell Suggs. I think this is going to be still a good defense, even without Suggs. They're going to get everything together. They still have Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the best defensive tackle in the National Football League, and Haloti Ngata. The defense is just going to be just fine. Do not worry about them. The Baltimore Ravens still have players to reload over Terrell Suggs. And at number 1, my San Francisco 49ers. They have the bomb defense. The best team against the run. They have so many outstanding players. Bowman, Willis, and they had great rookie sensation and Aldon Smith, which was a surprise pick, but it was a great pick with their 1st round selection in the 2011 NFL Draft. He almost broke the rookie record for most sacks in the season. He had 14, making it to the Pro Bowl. Now they need a little bit of help with the secondary, but that's okay. They ended up signing Ghostin for a little bit of contract, and I do like the play of Donte Whitner. This team has the best defense in the National Football League, and they will definitely make another playoff run. It all depends on the offensive side and on the shoulders of Alex Smith. But that defense will carry the team, and I think once again they're going to be the top scorers in the defense for fantasy football play. So I'm going to have to go with the San Francisco 49ers, my team, obviously the best defense in the National Football League. Yes, it is my opinion, but I'm sticking with it. They're the best defense in the league. A couple of honorable mentions, starting with the New England Patriots. Now they have a pretty good front seven, and I do like the addition of Dante Hightower and Chandler Jones, both their 1st round selections for this year's NFL Draft. But pay attention to Brandon Spikes. Now, he was hurt for most of the season, but when he came in, he posted a good amount of tackles, especially in the playoffs. He posted 26 tackles, including 11 in the Super Bowl. I think he could be a good mergence with him, Gerard Mayo, and Dante Hightower. That could be the best linebacking core in the National Football League if they work together, especially with the longevity that they have. They're young players, and I think that and all of them coming from the SEC conference, they know how to play smash mouth football. Trust me, this is going to be a good linebacking core. Brandon Spikes is going to be the X factor of the three. I think that he's just going to have to step up with his game and continue what he ended up doing last season, just getting back to what he was. Another team to look at for honorable mention, the Miami Dolphins. One player in particular I think that could step up this year is Jimmy Wilson. He's a great secondary player, and I think with Cameron Wake, he should step up again like he did back in 2010, making it to the Pro Bowl. I think he could post double-digit sacks. Now, I'm going to have to give you my sleeper of this season. Now, this is not a surprise pick because there's so many good players coming back, and a key addition this year because of their first round selection. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers from the NFC South Division. Why? Because they probably have the best linebacking core in the National Football League. James Harrison. John Beeson is out, but when he is back, he's going to be fully loaded. And they picked up their first-round selection, Luke Kuechly, who showed a lot of great talent in this preseason thus far. Made a forced fumble, and he's going to be a tackling machine. I think he's going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year this season. He will be all over the field, probably lead the team in tackles. And I know both John Beeson and Anderson and James Anderson do get a lot of tackles, but probably Luke Kuechly is going to be leading the league. Now, I do like their defense overall. Their front four, the offensive line, it's okay. They're still developing, but I am seeing a little bit of improvement from Terrell McClain, and I do like the emergence of Charles Johnson. He had 9 sacks last season, and I hope he steps up this year. He's having a pretty good preseason along with Terrell McClain. Now, the secondary might need a little bit more improvement. They had a rough year last season, but they had to deal with a lot of key injuries, and I think those were distractions. But with John Beeson coming back, that defense is going to be stellar. Now, overall last season, they were actually third to the last worst defensive team in fantasy play. So that's why I have to keep them as my sleeper of this year. I think they have a chance to make the top 15 this year because of all these great players developing. But one player I do think that I do want to keep an eye on is Greg Hardy. I hope he steps up. He's a defensive end out of Ole Miss. I think he could be a good second defensive end or opposite of Charles Johnson. They're going to have to work well together. I hope Greg Hardy just ends up stepping up to the plate just a little bit more. So I'm going to have to go with the Carolina Panthers as my 2012 sleepers for the defensive teams. Now, I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow to give you my top 10 kickers. I'm not going to give you a top 20 because most fantasy teams, they only end up picking up one kicker. So I'm going to give you my top kickers, some honorable mentions, and my sleeper. I think I should have gave you my top 10 defenses this season, but this year I decided to change things up a little bit and give you my top 20. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow to give you my top 10 kickers. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Franchise Sports Talk. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.